Hey everyone, welcome. So, we all think we know the stories from the book of Genesis, right? Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, Joseph, they're some of the most famous stories ever told. But what if there's more going on? What if they're packed with hidden layers and meanings that we've totally missed? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to peel back those layers and see what's really hiding inside.
So yeah, what secrets are hiding in there? The idea we're exploring is that Genesis isn't just some simple history book. It's actually this incredibly well-crafted text designed to show us some really deep truths about God, about us, about, well, life itself. And the craziest part? The clues are right there, hiding in plain sight.
All right, let's dive in. Our first clue is right at the start, in the creation story. And you'll see it's not some random chaotic, poof, there's a tree kind of thing. Nope. It's laid out like a blueprint, showing a world built with amazing intention and design.
Okay, so right away we hit something that kind of messes with our modern brains. We think you need the sun for light, obviously. But get this, in Genesis, light shows up on day 1. The sun, moon, and stars, they don't appear until day 4. Now, this isn't some ancient scientific mistake. It's making a huge point. And that point is this. By separating light from the sun, the story is screaming from the very beginning that the real source of all light, all life, all energy, it's God, not the things God made. It's a massive statement about where the ultimate power comes from. And the whole order of creation tells a story too. Think about it. Humans aren't just dropped into an empty world and told, good luck, no way. The world is prepared first. It's like someone setting up the perfect home for you before you move in. Light, water, food, animals, everything you could possibly need is put in place. It shows the world was designed as this incredible gift. So we've got this perfectly designed world, but then you add people. And with people comes the wild card, choice. What happens then? That's our next section. We're looking at the Garden of Eden, at Cain and Abel. And these aren't just simple stories about messing up. They're basically the foundational lessons on freedom and what comes with it. Just look at the setup in the garden. It's genius, really. You've got 2 special trees. The tree of life is just there. It's open, available, representing the life God wants to give. But the other tree, the tree of knowledge, that one comes with a choice. It's a boundary. And that tells you everything you need to know. From day 1, the relationship was meant to be about trust, not just blind obedience. And here's a detail that's so easy to miss. After they make the wrong choice, Adam and Eve feel ashamed. And then what happens? Does God just leave them to it? Nope. He actually makes clothes for them. It's this quiet little moment, but it's a huge clue. An act of mercy tucked right inside the consequence. It shows that even when things go wrong, that care is still there. This whole idea of choice and responsibility gets even more intense with the story of Cain. Before he does the unthinkable, God actually warns him and says something incredible. He basically says, you can be the master of this feeling. You can rule over it. That is so, so important. It's telling us that failure isn't some destiny you can't escape. It's the outcome of a choice, and a different choice was possible. Okay, so from these really personal stories, the camera kind of zooms out. We start looking at what happens when not just one person, but a whole society goes off the rails. And that brings us to 2 huge stories, Noah's flood and the Tower of Babel. And these are all about big themes like judgment and what it really means to be united. So let's talk about the Ark. Ever noticed it only has 1 door? Just one. Why is that? Well, it's probably not just a design choice for a boat. Symbolically, that 1 door represents a single, specific way to safety that God provides. In the middle of all that chaos, there's 1 way in. It's a really powerful image, isn't it? And then there's the Tower of Babel, which is such a fascinating story. You might think the problem was that everyone was working together, but that's not it at all. I mean, unity is a good thing, right? The real issue was why they were doing it. Their goal was to make a name for themselves, to build this monument to their own ego. And the story shows that when unity is built on pride instead of humility, it just falls apart. It leads to confusion, not connection. So after these big stories about pride, the focus shifts again. We zoom right back in on individuals, but this time the question is different. It's about what happens when you choose the opposite of pride, when you choose trust, even when it feels impossible. This is where we meet Abraham and Joseph, and their stories introduce one of the biggest themes in the whole book, how to have faith when you're stuck in the waiting room of life. I mean, Abraham's life is basically the definition of waiting. He gets this huge, life-changing promise from God, and then nothing happens. For years, for decades, he's living in this constant state of not yet. And what this shows us is that the main point of his story isn't the final outcome. It's about the trust he kept during that long, uncertain time in the middle. That was the real test.
Wow. And if Abraham's story is about waiting, Joseph's is about something else entirely, enduring absolute soul-crushing injustice. I mean, just think about it. He's betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and thrown in prison. It's just one horrible thing after another. His life looks like a complete train wreck.
And yet, here comes the twist. At the end of it all, after everything he's been through, Joseph can look his brothers in the eye and say, "You guys meant all of this for harm, but God used it for good." And that might be one of the most powerful hidden messages in the entire book. It's this idea that even the worst things people can do can somehow be woven into a bigger story of hope and redemption.
So after all of that, creation, failure, floods, faith, you'd expect the book to end with a nice, clean, happily ever after, right? But it doesn't. And how Genesis actually ends is one of its most profound secrets. It doesn't really conclude at all. It ends by pointing to a future that's still to come. This is what's so wild. The story just isn't finished. Joseph, our big hero, dies in Egypt, not in the Promised Land. And his final request is that someday, someone will carry his bones back home. So the book literally ends on a cliffhanger of hope, this feeling of anticipation. It's teaching us that God's plans are often way bigger than just one person's life. And that really leaves us with something to chew on, doesn't it? What Genesis seems to be saying is that so much of life is lived in that gap, the space between a promise being made and it actually coming true. It forces us to think about a much longer story, and it leaves us with a question that's just as relevant for us today. How do the promises we believe in shape the future we might never even get to see?